If we were to show up and protest and do something to get arrested, that defeats the whole purpose of the protest. Okay, folks, thank you for stopping by the Alabama Woodsman. This video is going to be my take on what happened when Drew and I went to bullhorn Cindy Jacobs and her prophetic friends. I need you to know how this works. So if Drew calls me up and says, hey, I'm going here, do you want to go? Then that's Drew's mission. Okay, he runs it. It's his. I'm there for support. If I were to call him up and say, hey, I want to go do this, do you want to go? And he does, then it would be my mission and he would be in support. But we have kind of evolved into these two different responsibilities, but they're not in stone, okay? So first I want to talk to you about the bullhorn. The bullhorn is the main mission. That bullhorn needs to be going because that's reaching the people. And we got to use a bullhorn because we can't project our voices as far away as we need, because you got to remember, we're on public property. We can't get on private property. So the goal is the bullhorn stays moving at all cost. Now, if lawmen show up, now this last time the lawmen were there in the parking lot, they never even came and talked to us because they're well trained in knowing, hey, look, those guys aren't coming over here. See, here's the thing. If we were to show up and protest and do something to get arrested, that defeats the whole purpose of the protest. So we would never do anything, on purpose to get arrested like that or anything like that. Because then we lose the opportunity to do what we came there to do. So if lawmen show up, most of the time, Drew starts off. He starts off and he's bullhorning, and we're going to get a response within the first minute, 2 minutes, maybe 3. If law enforcement shows up, I normally handle law enforcement because I can say things where I can convey to them, hey, I'm not your average citizen who is ignorant of their rights, okay? I can use certain words. Like I think one time when we went to Minnesota, I used the word curtilage. That's not a word that a lot of people know the meaning of, curtilage. Not cartilage, but curtilage. So I can say things to those law enforcement officers and just tell them, hey, look, I was a lawman too. You're not going to bluff me out of here. And that has happened, and they gave up. I mean, once I talked to that one officer in Minnesota, he just knew, okay, we're not moving these guys. Plus, they know that they can trust us because even if you don't agree with the person protesting, if they were a brother of the badge, you know that they're not an idiot. All right, they're going to obey the laws, abide by the rules. So when lawmen come up, I get in front and Drew gets behind me so I can deal with the law and he can keep bullhorning. Now, if it ever comes out that I start off the bullhorn and the law comes out towards him, then he'll handle the law and I will be able to continue to bullhorn. You're screening for the bullhorn, okay, because that's the mission. So that's why a lot of times you'll see I'll say, Drew, get behind me, law enforcement's coming. It's not because I wear a big S on my chest. It's a tactical move to keep that bullhorn going, because that's why we go there. All right, people who come up from the crowd, if they come up to talk to us, it has happened in the past that when people come up to talk to us, we may stop doing the bullhorn just to talk to those people, depending on how we feel it's going. If somebody says, hey, can you tell us more about what you're doing? That's one thing. If they come up, you're a bunch of liars, you're going to hell for coming against the prophet, that's another thing. You're not going to reach that person, okay? So it's flexible, it's fluid, but at the same time, part of it is rigid, which is bullhorn going. So when people come up, I may talk to them, or Drew may talk to them. It may be that Drew's heard part of the conversation he wants to add in, and he could hand me the bullhorn and say, here, your turn. And because it's his mission, I'd say, okay. That's just the way it works. So when people come up, you've got to kind of read the room. You got to look at their body language. If they come walking to you like this, you're going to have a confrontation. If they come up walking to you like this, they're shocked and they want to know what's going on. If they come up smiling, you can read the body language, but not always. So I want to talk to you about the pilot that came up during the Cindy Jacobs protest. The guy walked up very nice, standing up straight. He's wearing a suit. He's got his Bible in his right hand. Most people are right-handed, and since his right hand was occupied, I was kind of like, okay, he didn't mean any harm or anything. And he got up close to us, and all of a sudden, it just popped, and he snapped. So I was already in motion towards Drew, but for some reason, Drew's phone, the camera switched, so it's no longer facing out, it's facing me, and I'm like trying to get it to go back. And so I'm concentrating on the phone, and I didn't see the precursors to the lunge, or I would have cut him off quicker. So I have a big sign in my hand. I put the sign in front so it blocks his view. If he's going to swing, it blocks his view. He's not going to be able to hit because he can't see. You can't hit what you can't see. Not only that, he would hit the sign, and that would take some of the blow, and that would give me some time. Okay, I'm creating what's called reactionary gap. His action is always going to be faster than my reaction. So once I tell the guy, hey, man, you can't attack my friend like that, he was still angry, okay? Now, look, I don't fault him for being angry. Not at all right? Especially because hindsight's 20/20. I don't fault him for being angry, okay? We were assaulting the doctrine of somebody he thinks God is with like this. So he has now set the tone for the confrontation. Understand, his actions have set the tone for what's going to happen for at least 10 minutes. Now, there's all kinds of things I need to tell you about a situation like this. So when you are confronted on any level, if you get at all anxious, nervous, scared, it's okay to say you're scared. Scared, frightened, concerned, whatever the word you're looking for. If you have the, this can go south moment, then you get what's called fight or flight. You're either going to get a big adrenaline dump so that you can stand your ground and fight, whether that be physical or verbal or passive, or you're gonna get into flight, which means to run, evade. You're gonna back off. You're gonna back down. Either way, you're going to get an adrenaline dump. Now, they've discovered a long time ago, many years ago, that you can't just turn that off. When you get an adrenaline dump, you have to metabolize it. You have to burn that out. You can't just say, oh, well, the threat's over, I'm fine now. Now, something I always did as a lawman was to, I would take my teeth and I'd bring them real close together, as close as I could get without touching. And if they were bouncing like this, I knew I was under adrenaline, because that will make you shake. You see people all the time, oh, yeah, you're shaking in your boots. Dude, that's the scared you should be of somebody. If they are shaking, they are getting huge loads of adrenaline. Adrenaline will make you do things, make you say things, make you act ways, and allow you to take a blow to the face and not feel a lot of it. Okay? Anytime I saw somebody, like when they hand me their driver's license, if they were doing this, that's a key to me that they're getting an adrenaline dump. They're either going to hurt me or they're afraid of me. Now, I need to know what to do with that. Talking about when I was a lawman. So you can't just say, okay, the threat's over, I'm done. They've known this for a long time. That's why a lot of precincts or sheriff's departments or trooper lodges or whatever they call the troopers, they'll have a pool table in there. And you think, well, when you get a pool table, you should be working. No, you go to a wreck where there's people's brains all over the road, which I have done. You see things and you feel things, and what you need to do before you go out there, you need to get rid of that adrenaline and calm down so you can treat the next guy fairly. If I get into a fist fight, or if I get into just a road scrum where I'm on the ground trying to handcuff some guy and I got tons of adrenaline, once I take him to jail, I don't go make a traffic stop. That's not the time to make a traffic stop, because I am pumped up, I'm upset, I'm dealing with the memories of that guy that I just had to put in jail. I'm having to deal with, did I do this right? Did I say this right? I should have said this. He needs to know what he did and how I feel and all that. And then you try to make a traffic stop on somebody and you end up unloading on that person needlessly. So when they set the tone, it takes time to come down off that adrenaline dump. Okay, so because he set the tone and his first thing was aggression towards Drew, he set the tone that it was going to be aggression. Now, he later backed off. You saw him calm down, all right? Here's the thing. He walked up calmly, lunged at Drew, and then calm down again. Can you trust him to say, okay, well, he won't be aggressive anymore? You shouldn't. You should always be on guard. See, as American citizens, we kind of live in condition green. Everything's good. We don't see the bad in people. We're condition green. And then there's condition yellow, which is caution. Okay? Officers live when they're on duty, and most of the time off duty, in condition yellow or orange, which is a higher sense of awareness. Okay, you're not condition red, which is, hey, we're fighting or we're shooting it out or whatever, or I'm going into a burning house. You don't live in condition red. You visit condition red, you fall back to orange, and then hopefully in the next hour or two you may get back into yellow. A lot of times you never leave orange. But orange is not caution, but you're not fighting either. You are preparing to do something. You're either preparing to put the boots on somebody, sorry for using that term, or you're prepared to get the boots put on you. Folks, when this man set the tone, we were in condition red, but we only stayed there for probably about 10 seconds. But then we were in condition orange, because now I cannot trust him to just talk. He's already displayed that he is capable, and he has made a decision previously to get physical. So now I have to prepare for a possible physical confrontation. So part of the way that you control the conversation in that dynamic is you control what's being said. All right. Now, I'm going to say something, and you guys, if you've never been in the positions that I'm in, you may not understand this. You won't agree with this. My mother did not agree with this, and that's fine. Folks, when you ride in the projects, or you ride in the city, or you ride in the country, or wherever you ride, you have to speak the way those people speak. Because if you don't, if I'm in the inner city, which I worked mainly kind of not like downtown, but I worked inner city projects and things like that. They weren't the worst projects in that city, but they weren't easy either. If I go in there and I say, "Sir, my name is Officer Woodsman. Could you please, sir, just for my safety, would you please mind putting your hands on the car so that there's no misunderstandings between us?" If I was to say that, the first thing the person I'm making contact with is going to think is, he is takeable. He can be had. I can get him, I know, because he is not down with the street game. But if I walk up and I say, "Hey, dude, how about grab some car and don't make me tell you twice because I don't want to have to break your hands." Now, you'll say, well, police officers shouldn't talk like that. I never had, first of all, I wouldn't just start off doing that, okay? But if I was talking to some corner guys, slinging cane and making phone calls and doing, playing the business, yeah, I may do that. I never had one of them say anything other than, okay, officer, hands on the car. I'm telling you, if I would have shown weakness, they would have thought they could get something over on me. I know it because I use that to my advantage. I'm going to tell you a story. I had a guy one time I pulled up on a wreck, and he actually had a murder warrant out of a place called Tuscaloosa, Alabama. Now, I was patrolling by myself, so someone with an outstanding murder warrant, hey, I need backup, okay? Because here's the thing. That guy knew he had a warrant. I didn't know anything. Now, once I know he has a warrant, if I was to come out of the car like that, he would know I then knew he had a warrant. So what I did is I said, hey, Mr. So-and-so, I tell you what, have you got your driver's license on you? Because he had given me his name and his date of birth and all that and his social, and that's how I knew there was a warrant. And he's like, no, man, I don't have one. I said, okay, well, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to have to write you a ticket for not having a license, but after that, I'm going to cut you loose. You'll be on your way. I looked at my watch. I said, probably 15 minutes. I said, I'm not going to keep you any longer than I have to. Okay, I lied to the guy. But now he thinks, oh, well, that officer doesn't know I have a murder warrant. I'm going to play it cool. And I just talked the guy right in the back of my car. Sir, you need to sit in the car. I'm sorry. Let me check you for weapons. You ain't got no weapons on you. You know we always have to do that and everything. No, officer, I ain't got no weapons. Okay, great. Appreciate it. I put him in the car, and then I stepped to the back of the car. And I told the dispatcher, he's in my car, but I'm not 24. 1024 means calm or the situation's under control. I said, he's in the back of my car, but it is not 24. Keep a unit coming. Unit shows up. I tell the guy, hey, look, I roll the window down a little bit. Hey, dude, spin around and put your hands behind your back. There's a murder warrant for your arrest. And he did. There was no confrontation. I sweet-talked that guy in the back of my car, acting stupid or ignorant of what he had done. Folks, you have to control the situation when you're dealing with people who have displayed aggression. So I'm trying to control the conversation. I'm trying to be just a little bit louder than he is. You got to understand how that works. Now, let's talk about how loud I was. You also got to know Drew was literally, I'm trying to get a little sense of how far. Drew was probably about 4 feet away, 3 feet away. And the bullhorn is loud because we were forward of the bullhorn. So when I'm talking to the guy and I'm yelling, I'm actually trying to yell over Drew. I am not angry at this guy. I am very cautious of this guy. Folks, I've been in those situations all the time. When my mind is calculating options, I don't have time for anger to be in there as well. I need to be tactical. So when you see me talking to this guy, I am not mad at this guy, okay? I'm trying to remain tactical and smarter and anticipate what he is going to do. I'm looking at his feet. I'm looking at is he standing on one leg or if he's squared up on me or if he's leaning into me. I'm looking at all those things. But I'm not mad at the guy. So then finally, as Drew has said in his video, he decides, look, I'm bullhorning. The woodsman's over there. He's not going to make any ground with this guy. So let's just have this guy move on. And that's his call. This was his mission. So that's what we did. So some of you people out there were upset that I cut the man off. He was talking and I cut him off. All right, so let me explain it to you this way. Let's say you're a student. And you've got this math problem. Let's say it's trigonometry or something heavy duty where there's multiple steps in it. Now, you've got this math problem, and the math teacher is standing over your shoulder, and she's looking down at you, and she says, little woodsman, do this problem right here. And I start doing it. And let's say it's a 15-step calculation, but I blow it on step 3. I get step 1, it moves into step 2, I get step 2, it moves into step 3, but I blow it on step 3. Now what the teacher will say is, hang on a second, before you go to step 4, you better look at that number 3. That's not right. Before you continue, we need to correct this issue, number 3. And that's what I did to that man. When he's talking and he makes a theological error, all right, an error in the Bible, the conversation stops and we have to address that issue. Now, he wants to say 3 or 4 things, and if I just let him ramble for 2 or 3 minutes, he might say 4 or 5 things. Now, how can I go back and address all of them? I don't, so I interrupted him because we had to get this straight before we can go any further, because his whole foundation was wrong. Of course, he's got the wrong answer. He started off and got off track early in the conversation. So that's why I'm interrupting, because we need to address the error as it happens. So once again, this is Drew's mission. Drew calls the shots. I am there for support. All right. Now, when his voice, he needs a break on his voice, I'll step up and do the bullhorn. But at any time, Drew can say, hey, I think we're done, and I'll be okay, because I'm in support. That's my role when he chooses the mission. There's been times when he's like, how much longer do you want to go? And I'm like, man, I'll leave when you want to. I'll stay for another hour if you want to. You just let me know. First of all, Drew drove a lot farther than I drove, so it ended up taking me about 12 hours one way. Drew was probably 18, 20 something hours. I don't know. I'm much farther. He's much farther than me. So as a courtesy, and because it's the right thing to do, hey, Drew, this is your mission, man. You call it when we're done, and I'm good with that. And then we leave. We talk about it. Now, we do talk about it, and we say, hey, look, what went good, what didn't go so good. So this is me talking, okay, but we talk about it. And so one of the things we got at the Robin Bullock, some feedback we got back was, hey, both you guys are yelling, and we couldn't really understand either one because both of you are yelling. How about just one person at a time? And when we looked at the video, we're like, that person's absolutely right. One person at a time from here on out. And so that's what we did. It evolved into, hey, we've done this a couple times. What has worked and what hasn't? So what we may consider doing next time is if someone walks up and Drew's on the bullhorn, Drew may say, hey, it's your turn to bullhorn, and I take the bullhorn, and he handles the walk-up people. I don't have a problem with that. Not at all. Now, the only thing that would give me a problem is there's, a safety issue, because like I said, I'm looking at people's body language as they're walking up. And if you don't know how to read body language, then you're missing some clues you really need to catch. So it may be that we don't do that. It's just something we need to talk about. But some of you have said that maybe I don't need to handle the walk-up people because you perceive me as being aggressive or cutting the guy off and yelling at the guy, and that's not Christian. Okay, well, I know this is apples and oranges, okay? So don't hit me with it. Well, that's just not reasonable. I know this is apples and oranges. A cop who's duking it out on the streets and slinging a baton and spraying pepper everywhere and fighting and scrounging, is that a Christian? Is that the way Christians work? Is that how Christians treat people? Well, in that situation, absolutely that officer could be Christian. Folks, the whole be angry and sin not is a real thing. You can be defensive, you can be aggressive, and sin not. But if you've not lived that life and understand it because you've lived it through experience, you may not grasp the things that I grasp in that. Okay? I can be very aggressive, very defensive and all that, and do it in love and not do it as being a jerk. But the people who don't understand what's going on and the dynamics between the two people having the encounter may not realize that. So folks, that's my take on the whole pilot thing. I even told Drew in the video, the guy was a nice guy. Look, he just got upset. That's fine. But I had to act a certain way from that second forward. When he went physical, he set the tone, and you just don't shut that off. You shouldn't shut that off because now you can't trust what he might do in the future. He's already told you that he could go violent at any time. And look, this guy was a tall guy. He looked like he was in shape. He was a pilot. Those guys normally stay in pretty good shape, especially jet pilots, because I think the cockpit's a lot smaller than like a Cessna or something. So I don't have any problem with him. I hope no one thinks I have a problem with him. Sir, if you're watching this video, hey, look, no hard feelings. And I've prayed about it, and I've told the Lord, look, if I've made a mistake there, Lord, forgive me, show me my mistake, because I'm always looking at myself to see if I'm the problem, which I think a lot of Christians should do. All right, folks, that's the video. I'm sorry it took me so long to get this out. I've been incredibly busy. After work, I've had things I've had to do for my mom, and things around the house, and stuff at work making me work late and stuff. So I apologize for not getting that out a couple days ago like I told you I would. My bad. But folks, that's a video. As we do here at the Woodsman, let's just close in a word of prayer, okay? Lord, thank you for everything that you do for us, how you protect us and provide for us, Lord. Lord, thank you for your grace and mercy in our lives, Lord. Father, right now I pray for Cindy Jacobs and everyone who was there at that meeting that night, and everyone who follows her. Lord, I pray for her pilot. Send your Holy Spirit to all these people, Lord, and show them the error of their ways. Show them that this new doctrine they are running to is not true doctrine. They're moving to the wide path full of witchcraft and New Age teachings and Mid-Eastern, Far Eastern religions, Lord. Show them that so that they could come back to the narrow path, true doctrine. Father, I ask this in Jesus' name, first for your glory and then for their good. Amen. All right, folks, hope to see you again on the Alabama Woodsman.